Talk Show.
It's a daily talk show episode 505.
It's a nice comfy one. We're out the front of our Airbnb in West Hollywood, and these chairs, these are really comfy.
Really comfortable. What street are we on?
Ogden.
Ogden.
Ogden Street.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Can you actually see? Oh, you can't see the number. It's cut out because it would be giving away our exact address.
Oh, yeah.
And then all those people would be coming to knock on our door. Actually, we hope they do. No one's knocked on our door.
What's the street parallel to?
It runs parallel with Fairfax, and it's right near the corner of Melrose and Fairfax. That's the cross intersection. Great spot.
Yeah. I find that when I'm driving, it's extremely difficult to understand sense of direction. When I'm walking, very different. I get into the grid. I get into working out where we are.
Well, I reckon you're good, but I reckon it's the GPS. I reckon most people nowadays, like back in the day when you had to look in the Melways. By the way, I never knew it was. I thought Melways.
Melbourne. It's Melbourne specific. Yes, you don't ask. In Sydney, you don't ask for a Melways.
I was in Sydney once. I was like, we should get a Melways. What's that?
Yeah.
Sidways.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Anyway, because I've been feeding you and Siri or Google Maps, telling you the directions, I think we just listen rather than sort of digest.
Well, I'm looking at mirrors. I'm making sure that
you get a lot on. And so I wonder how it would go. What was the old days of travelling? You had to take a map. A fucking.
It would be like orienteering. Did you have SOS?
No.
What is SOS?
Was it at school?
Yeah. It was like humanities, but it was it used to be called SOS. I don't know what SOS stands for. But
So I'm sure Gemma knows what SOS is. Anyway, this lovely Airbnb. We're in this sort of fortress of hedges. And it's lovely, and so it's feeling
Real
very
nice
tropical.
hedge.
There's a palm tree, 2 palm trees behind us.
Yeah.
And there's also another fixture of the location directly out the front. I don't know if you've noticed it. The Lime scooter.
Oh, yeah. Now, can you actually download an app or no?
So by the end of this lesson, by the end of this isn't
Back in school.
Mate, I just feel like I teach people, By the end of this episode, I'm going to go out, try and turn on the Lime scooter and drive it back into the show.
Okay.
And so,
how does the pricing structure work?
it's like $1 to activate. So $1 to unlock, and then 35 cents per something. I don't know. I could probably look
for people playing at home. It's 1:50 p.m. here in LA, which I think is 7:50 a.m.
Yeah.
Can I just say, look at the bites that I am getting at the moment.
What's happened, dude?
Moly.
You need Stingos.
So, yeah, as a kid, I would use Stingos.
Oh, what about when kids used to get? Oh my God, is your
so
foot
big?
I actually saw
There
you.
looks like there's something in there.
I saw you touching that before. It's actually got a lot bigger.
Yeah, so this is I think I'm
You okay?
slightly allergic to mosquitoes. And
I can see the mosquitoes. They're getting
you.
This
is they've been getting me all.
Oh no, this could have been.
Since we've been setting up, and they're real little for some reason. But my ankles are getting absolutely destroyed.
Gemma says studies of society and environment. SOSE.
Oh, yeah.
SOS. Do you remember when we were kids? People used to put. I remember the girls used to do it because they had long fingernails, like long thumbnails.
You do a
put
cross.
a cross in, on the mozzie bite, and it was meant to help.
Well, I've mentioned it before. Have a look, 97. Like the amount of scars on my foot, on my legs.
Yeah, Mum had to tell you something, didn't?
She called me.
All the white dots.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
They're all so they're all scars from little mosquito bites turning into scabs. And there was
you're picking them.
Yeah, and there was also a time in, I think it was Merimbula. There was somewhere else where I went fishing. What is it called when you use a hand thing and
fishing?
You fish? No, but not a rod.
No, it's still fishing. You're just using a line.
Yeah, but what's that called?
I'm pretty
fly
sure.
fishing? No, it's not fly fishing.
No rod.
You're very loud, 97. I'm just turning.
Yeah,
I'm just going to turn.
I'm pretty sure it's still
Turn me down.
fishing because I've done fishing on a it's the reel.
Handrail.
Handrail.
Yeah.
It's a handrail.
So I had handrail fishing,
handrail.
and I got eaten alive by sandflies.
Oh no!
And so a lot of those scars are that.
You know how people say, I attract mozzies, like they like my blood.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Do you think that's a thing?
I think it's a thing for me. Anyway.
Well, I think you're allergic. We can clearly see that.
Yeah, there's something going on.
But I had my brother's best friend, Andy, who actually lives here in California.
Can we catch up with him?
No, he's in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I used to PT him. I was a PT.
Yeah, you're a PT, yeah. When you're in Shepparton?
He would say, mate, if I'm sitting at a table, there will be no one getting eaten by mosquitoes because they all come to me. Like they just flock. They flock to me.
Well, there's a lot of natural things that you can do. You can use the burning things and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Some big news in the Janssen v Janssen.
Well, yeah. So about 5 years ago, my brother James, who lives in North Carolina, he was in Australia. Him and I, growing up, would get into a lot of arguments. He's a bit of a know-it-all. I know a bunch of stuff.
Hang on. Does that mean?
So he's got I think he's got his honours or whatever in exercise science.
Okay.
I've got honours in life.
Where do you clash most in terms of like a genre of knowledge?
Technology.
Okay. Well, because you know a fuck.
Yeah, I know a lot about technology, and so when technology meets science or technology meets sports, that's really when it's we start to clash.
Okay.
And so we had an argument about 5 years ago. I remember it went on for days. I think it went from the entire trip that he was in Melbourne.
Yeah. And your dad got involved.
Well, yes. Well, that happened later. That happened recently. That only happened in the last year and a half or 2 years. But yeah, the 2.5 years. Yeah, it must be. It's probably 6 years that this feud's been happening.
It's a solid JVJ.
Yeah, but it was when Apple first came out with their new Apple Watch, and I was saying I think that Fitbit's in trouble. I think that they're not innovating enough. I think that the technology is very basic. I think it's going to move way further than this, and I think that if Fitbit doesn't invest in other technologies outside of the accelerometer, they're in trouble.
Do you think your forecast? Do you think it was like had you seen it sort of progress and you were like, yes, I'm onto it?
Well, the thing is that I liked Fitbit so much that I was selling them, remember? I had if you typed in buy Fitbit Australia, my link on my blog, melbournegeek.com, was the first thing that came up.
Really?
And so I was making $700 a month of people buying them.
It's amazing. You can hate them and also cash
but the thing
in.
is, so I was I was watching, I was like, I'd seen what had happened to my Fitbit, and I was like, I think that all of this is going to be integrated into a single device.
Yeah.
Like you don't think about what watches have, what phones have even done. Everyone's got the health app. Everyone knows how many steps they've done. Everyone's walking constantly with their phones. We have a big accelerometer in our pants. Yeah. As in our phones.
Yeah. Mr. 97 rocks something different. And so today, has it just been the last week or two?
No.
When did this news come out?
Well, no. So before we announced the news, it happened. Yeah. So over the last 6 years, it started. I think the Fitbit went public. I think they IPO'd around $32, and up until a month ago, it was at $4 a share.
So plummeted.
Yes. In a massive, massive way. And so there's a bit of a joke that people slid into our DMs because at my brother's wedding, when the photographer asked for us all to laugh, my dad asked my brother how Fitbit's going.
So I reckon it's fair to say your dad's on your side. Like, as much as he might not know about the tech, that's a siding with JJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, which JJ?
Oh, because you're the Kardashians,
I am
the
JJ.
KKK. Actually, no, that's actually bad for the Kardashians. They're the quadruple K, though. Campton, who in Conspiracy Jimmy, I mean, he's a big fan of this. I walked into his office once and he's like, mate, that Fitbit stuff with Josh is so good.
Well, I think because everyone can relate to having, what within your family, do you have feuds?
My brothers and I, it's an interesting one. I think we all there was more that tension early days because I'm 8 years behind my eldest brother, so 4 years behind Mikey, my middle. And so Mikey and I were close. I became then close with my elder brother when I became 17, 18. I got older. But we haven't. I mean, Ant thinks I'm a know-it-all, but I mean, what does he know?
Well, the other contentious thing was when I read 4 Hour Body, which was Tim Ferriss's book, and you can pick up a lot of stuff. And so I'm talking about DEXA scans and shit like that, and James would always be eye-rolling.
the exercise scientist.
And so it only happened yesterday. I was actually on the toilet at the time, and I heard Mr. 97 yelling out.
Oh!
Yeah, I was like, oh, what's going on? And then so I had to turn, because put Spotify on so no one can hear me in the toilet.
Is that why you do it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I just thought you liked music in the dunny.
Well, I do, but I think it's also like a polite thing to do. It's like if I
there was a bit of John Mayer today.
Yeah, the problem is that I love acoustic covers. It doesn't necessarily have the loud
the
thuds.
cover power.
Yeah.
It's a cover, but it's not covering the sound.
Yeah.
I was thinking, just veering off slightly before we get to that. The toilets over here, there's a lot of water in the bowl. And the bowl, have you noticed that, Sevs?
Yeah.
So much water.
Not much water in ours.
Nah, ours is less. But where we were last night,
massive.
Big thing of water. And so I'm going to the toilet and I'm thinking, I can't hit the side because I like to not make too much noise either.
I think isn't it a human quality not to... Who is trying to make noise?
Do you think Americans have that... they don't have that feeling of like there's less of go on a date, use the toilet, make all that noise because you've got no option. So you grow up with a lot of water in the bowl and so you're making a lot of noise.
So you think more water, more... I felt like potentially less given from...
Less care about the noise from Americans.
No, from ass to water, less time so it can't build up a splash. So
I'm
imagine
not
if
even
you're
talking
the
number
distance...
twos, I'm talking number ones.
I'm so
and
sorry.
so there's a lot of... No, but I know you were talking that, but the noise...
I don't give a fuck about stream. I actually...
Okay, fair enough. But some people do. I reckon I've felt more about the stream in my life.
I reckon for me, within society... more frowned upon on a 2 than a 1. And so my stream is an indication that it's a weird flex that I'm not doing shit. Like if I'm in the toilet, I'm happy to just... And the other thing is that I aim right into the water because I don't like when I hear you piss sometimes, I feel like you're trying to piss on the side.
Yeah, because I'm trying not to be noisy.
I'm like, are you...
No, I do the same thing.
No, but the thing is, it just sounds like you're fucking missing the bowl. Is he pissing everywhere?
I mean, sometimes, let's be honest.
You know what I mean? Because you hear a little bit of the water, and then you hear the... Like it's hitting...
Yeah, it alternates. Yeah.
So, Mace, situation being on a date... I mean, lovely young lady. You've gone over to her place. I mean, this has happened before, and it's a small place, and you need to go to the toilet. Number one, what are you purposefully going? I don't want her to hear my stream.
Yeah. I think that's a consideration. Yeah, definitely. But when I go to the toilet, I do that anyway. Like I don't want to make a massive noise anyway. So.
Yeah, so it's just to care about. Anyway, so Josh covers his noise. Gemma Watts has said, "Hey Google, play Missy Higgins," and Craig Harper has said, "The Daily Talk Show, the front door edition."
Yes,
I love that.
We are. If you're only listening, we're literally there's a green front door.
And Gemma says toilet chat is a lot at 8 a.m.
Yeah,
so let's move on from the toilet chat.
I had more to add, but
the toilet, it was happening. Mason had a stroke out in the lounge room,
and so he's yelled out. He said, Google, Fitbit, and it turns out that Google has acquired Fitbit for how much?
2.1 billion.
2.1 billion. And so the thing was, Tommy, what was your initial reaction to that?
Well, I mean, immediately I go to a success for Fitbit
with
an exit of $2 billion.
It seems like a real big number.
Anything that sells for billion, like the B word, it's fucking ridiculous.
What if you're buying a country?
The T word. You need trillion.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's a lot.
So that's my point, I guess, is 2 billion sounds really good.
But I initially think, oh my God, has he lost this? Like it's just questioning, has Josh lost this? Is James? Is this JVJ over?
And so Conspiracy Jimmy even was messaging about it.
Well, he's a tech guy, right?
Yeah.
Has a tech business, and he said to me, "Did you hear about Fitbit?" And I wrote back saying, "Yes." Who do you think won? And he said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
He said Google will pump them up though.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the thing is that, why do you... I mean, I don't know much about all of this stuff, but you've got a publicly listed company that was bought by a company so it was bought for, I think they're paying $7 or something a share, cash. I don't understand how that works. So do they just I guess they pay all the shareholders out? There's agreed to thing.
Yeah, so I think the shareholders would know that they were doing the sale.
Yeah, and so it was like I think that it was, before it got announced, it was at like $4 or whatever. So okay, we're getting an extra $3. But what that says, if you started at 30 and then you sell for 7, to me that seems like a massive loss.
Yeah.
Well, IPOing, I mean, we are the financial experts. This is the Daily Talk Show Finance Edition. When something IPOs, it usually does send it up. There's a lot of hype around it.
Yeah.
And so then it does come down. But I mean, that's like losing how much percent?
Well, especially like technology specifically, like when LinkedIn IPO'd, I think that was a really big public offering based on Facebook. I don't think had gone public at that point. So everyone was hungry for backing a social media company.
Yeah, well, off the back of the Facebook stuff. But so I asked you, had you spoken to James yet? And at the point you hadn't.
No, but I've since spoken to him, and so I didn't go into. I thought, do I need to sort of deconstruct? I'm sure he would come up with some form of reason.
Mate, there's always
why it was a win.
Christmas for that.
Yeah.
What else are family gathering for?
Yeah.
Spark up your feud again.
Yeah, keep it face to face. I know, I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense.
But just in your heart, is this a win?
Yeah, no, definitely. No, it's a win, absolutely.
Or does it still...
It's a win. And I'll read a few articles that will sort of cement my position, and then I'll be fine.
The Verge cements your position.
Oh, really? What do they say?
It's the way that they're treating Fitbit is similar to the way that Google's treated Nest. So they're bringing it all in-house into the hardware production team or whatever. And so you'll probably maybe see Google Fitbit, like watch, whatever the name is.
Yeah, sure.
So it'll be like Google brand, then Fitbit. And so it's all in-house, not keeping separate.
Well, the thing is that it's... what's happened is exactly what I thought, which is Fitbit, they had one specific bit of technology, one specific thing, but
they don't know,
Google's having to bring them in, being like, guys, you can't...
They don't have the software chops.
Yeah.
But then is it a rescue job at $2 billion?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the founders are like...
Well, it's not a rescue. Yeah, the thing is, it's like, okay, we're cutting our losses. We're doing okay. We're not as super, super rich as what we thought we were going to be.
But I mean, walking away with all that money, if they did, it's a win for them and it's a win for JJ.
Well,
we've
been talking a lot about wealth, specifically like walking down different streets.
I actually just opened my phone to get into Instagram, and I saw that it was my last Google search, which was the house across the road. How much is it worth?
Yeah.
Because there's something nice about being in a country that's not your own. You don't really have a great knowledge about property price and stuff, so you're like, I reckon that might be worth blah blah blah.
Yeah, I've got a mate who gets so into the whole moving to places that he'll actually he's multiple times in different countries asked to book appointments with real estate agents and goes in and does inspections.
Is he a tire kicker though? Like, is that...
Yeah, absolutely a tire kicker, because he doesn't have the finances. And so he's like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about doing this or whatever. Like Barcelona. He spent fucking days in Barcelona looking at places.
And no, does it, like, no...
Well, no, I think that he probably does, but then you're like, oh, will you be able to get like a mortgage from like... And it's like, oh, no. So it seems like a little bit ill-informed, but yeah. So we're trying to guess, and it's we were doing this even on the way to the airport. We were asking our driver, if you private planes versus flying first class,
what would you rather?
And we were saying, I think we were all saying first or no.
Yeah.
Have you changed your mind?
No. I think the first thing, it's just like it's a bigger plane.
Yeah.
There's like you're in first. You got the best. You got a bed.
Do you think that
What more do you need?
us picking first class instead of private, does that make us humble? Do you think? Or just like,
Mate,
but it's also like the hype.
we're smart with the money that we don't have.
Well, I just think that the private plane, because there's also the admin of private planes. There's I know you have people at this point, but it's like, it seems like, when you go on trips, I feel this, like being on this trip, you feel like you're more primed to be fucked by something and have to pay a bunch of money. So you're ultra sensitive to, okay, like we've budgeted this all okay, but you could easily have something that goes wrong and then it costs you a couple of grand. Imagine having a private jet. They're like, the stairs aren't working properly, and so we've got to get new stairs.
20 grand.
Yeah, 20 grand, new stairs.
But as we know, trash is cash. Cash is trash.
Cash is
Grant
trash.
Cardone, who owns a jet.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
his mantra.
Yeah.
So he dropped all his money on a jet.
But we then got to fame and talking about, you were pointing at one of the houses and saying, I really like this setup. I could really live this lifestyle. I mean, they had 3 luxury vehicles that would have been over 150 grand each.
No, not in LA. That's the thing about LA. Luxury vehicles do not cost what they do in Australia. There was still probably $100,000 worth of cars there.
Oh, there's more than 100.
There was more than 100. There would have been 250 worth of cars there.
Maybe,
at least.
maybe.
Well,
What, that Mercedes?
I mean, when we walked
Tesla,
around,
what's that Mercedes called?
It's a G-Wagon, but it wasn't like a.
It's probably a GL.
It wasn't
about
a
the cost of a G?
550S. It wasn't the top of the line.
And then they had a Range Rover.
Yeah, but look at how much a Range Rover is here. They're
What do you think?
I reckon for a Rangy, like a sport,
70,000 US?
Nah, 50 grand.
Yeah, sure. Okay, well,
Only because in Australia they're about 120, and so you don't pay the tax. So maybe you're right, 50 to 70, max 70. So, but anyway,
Well, we
that's
need to
why
find out.
this is why most people over here have better cars.
I do think I have a similar relationship with you that I have with my brother James.
Do you?
Well, I think just because you're fucking, everything's like you need to be right, and so anyone that needs to be right, I need them to be wrong.
Yeah. No,
And so,
fair.
So we need to 97's looking up. What are you finding 97's?
I'm just on like the alternative to car sale.
What is
car
what is the
sales.
name of the place here?
Don't
Auto
look
Trader.
fucking second hand.
No.
Well, that's second hand.
Yeah,
Okay, there you go. 2020. Second hand, 131k.
It's fucking expensive.
Well, it says new, but
For a US.
yeah.
That's
This is
expensive.
US.
And you were saying 50 grand.
So this is the 2020 version.
So,
New.
so it's in the future.
2020.
It flies.
Okay, 2020.
Yeah, it flies. Yeah. 131k.
That's expensive.
so
Anyway, they're expensive. I was wrong for 2020.
And so I reckon I was right that with the amount of cars, I reckon 150,000 a car. I think that where it gets, a Prius is way cheaper. You can get a Prius for maybe 28,000 or whatever for a decent one in the US. And they also have leasing and shit as well, which is very common, where it's like people pay $100.
But I think your point, there's wealth everywhere here. You really see it. You
There's
see it
also
in the
the
cars.
poverty as well. On the
it's
other
the
end.
city of extremes,
Yeah.
I think, because you've got a tent city just down the street, and then you've got the Hollywood Hills where Zac Efron lives in a $15 million mansion.
So wealth versus fame. 97. Fame. When you were growing up, did you ever think about being famous?
Nah. Growing up, I always wanted to be an astronaut.
There's a bit of fame that's associated with that.
No, it wasn't even the fame. It was the experience of it. I've sort of shied away from wanting any of that.
I reckon
I don't have an interest in.
So could you have done the whole Armstrong thing? Is that his name?
Neil Armstrong.
Yeah.
Go to
they
the
called
moon.
him Lance.
Yeah, I could have done
the whole
Lance
drum
Armstrong.
thing.
Yeah, Neil. Yeah. Do you think would you have accepted the
that's
fame?
I mean,
So
that's too full on. Going to the moon to be the first person.
Okay.
Well,
It's more just
there's
be
been a
like to
bunch
the
now.
International Space Station and back. That's it.
How many
And going on a
astronauts are doing
spacewalk.
that?
They
Oh,
just
fair
sent. There was
few.
2 females that went very recently. They just did a mission and
They'll
they
probably go up
went
like
out.
maybe 6 flights a year they might have to the International Space Station.
So
how much did you actually look into doing this?
Not that much.
He's called the top 5 jobs when you're young, what you say you want to be. Like astronauts, their fame. I want to be famous, which I don't know what that even means.
And so, because I told myself that I wanted to be famous by 19.
Did you?
Yeah. And
what
here
did you
I
think
am.
you wanted to be famous for?
Look at me. We're here. No one knows about us.
You've been bitten by a mosquito.
Yeah,
It's,
let's see.
it's
The only thing
inflamed.
I
Is it
can be
still
famous
going?
for is some sort of fucking mosquito.
It's got
Little bit.
slightly bigger, but it definitely
We
has.
almost need to do the thing the doctors do: put a pen around it.
Yeah, draw
and see.
around it. They usually do it with
What did I think
infections.
I was going to be famous for? At a time, I remember looking up about applying for a job at The Verge. Actually,
Really?
I thought
Would you
that
be
I was
famous
going
for that?
to within geek
In the tech
culture.
community,
Yeah, I think that the thing is that things have changed a lot too. Like I think that the people that I thought were famous growing up were famous within what I was into. So it was like technology. It was the tech entrepreneurs. It was the journalists covering it. It's guys like Nick Bilton who wrote a book called, I think it was Hatching Twitter, and he was really into his job was writing about technology.
Yeah.
And so I thought when I had Melbourne Geek and I had all that sort of blogging and doing that, I thought that was the area that I was going to go into.
I get to give you credit because I think that's pretty dialed in at understanding what you want to be famous for, because I think most people would say fame, I want to be famous, but they don't quite yet have a craft or something to be famous for. So you look at reality TV stars. I mean, that could be the road to I want to be famous with nothing attached, like writer, film producer.
But I was thinking about it. No, I was thinking about like in year 11, I got really serious for a bit about going to the US and studying, going to UCLA. My IT teacher, an American guy, moved from the US the year that he came to our school. So he was mates with Jay Leno, which I thought was so cool. And
good mates or just mates?
He would like it. It sounded like, because Jay Leno is really big into the motorbike stuff, I think that my teacher was into that. We had photos with him and stuff like that, so it seemed legit. But I remember being on the website and looking up, like doing that. Like I wonder how, and the reason I didn't do it was like, 30,000 minimum a year or something, and my grades weren't going to be good. So I'd of knocked out the idea of doing uni, and I was just going to start my own business.
Which I think is good. I think this place, Hollywood, is geared around fame. Like last night, saw a sign, and it was like a tequila label, and it was just flashing. So the tequila bottle, then it would flash to fame is fleeting. So it's always like marketing around don't be here to chase the fame because it's fleeting. But I think it is. It changes people's view on people, especially in this town. Like you're looking for it, you're seeing famous people. We
were surprised that when we were filming the Halloween parade, how many punters were so excited about a camera, by our big camera. Everyone was taking photos and people were asking for it from the news. In the town where that shit's everywhere. You'd think that they'd be desensitized. But then we got thinking, I'm like, do people actually go out? Like I was with an actor at South by Southwest, and he had a premiere, and we hung out with him in his hotel room because it's like, if I go, especially in this town with this vibe, there's a festival on, I'll just have people everywhere bombarding. And so I guess there is that transaction that's going on, that when you become famous, you lose anonymity obviously, but then I guess you can't do with the things that you'd normally do. We look at the documentaries like the Lady Gaga one, like it is so full on. Like it becomes this, they're sad about it. They don't want to be involved. Did you ever think that you were going to, because you did the immersive, what was that, Hollywood Immersive?
Oh yeah.
Was that just for presenting or for acting as well?
Presenting, not acting.
And so did you ever think that you'd do acting?
Nah, never.
Uh-huh.
I think if it would have to be just
You
a
playing
shtick
yourself.
of me, yeah, just sometimes, yeah. I think you'd be good at that too.
Uh-huh.
Just like your own
That's all
playing
yeah.
yourself. But then, what about
Jackass? Did you ever get into Jackass and be like, I could be Johnny Knoxville?
Nah. I loved him though. I loved watching it though.
Why didn't you think just because you weren't?
I don't know. I don't know if I like hurting myself. I don't
Yeah.
like doing that kind of shit.
Uh-huh.
I remember I had a kid that I grew up with, Ben. He was really good at it. And Reese Mitchell used to film
Just
him.
being a jackass.
Just hurting himself. And it's like you have this like part of your
The
brain
devil inside
where,
you.
where you're not thinking about the consequences.
Mhm.
You're just doing. And,
And
then
and you felt that you didn't have that.
in a lot of areas I did, but not around the hurting myself and
Uh-huh.
fucking jumping off stupid shit. And
Uh-huh.
nah, not at all.
So talking about hurting yourself, how are you going to do this lime scooter?
All right. To finish off, this could go pear-shaped because the other night, but what happened the other night, I downloaded the Lime app,
Mhm.
signed up, and there was a festival on, that Halloween thing, and they'd locked off scooters
Yeah.
so that everyone couldn't just ride in on the scooters and dump them. But I've got the Lime app here, which I've just opened, and it shows you that these two scooters out the front have half tank of energy.
Great.
Half tank
Battery.
of battery. Oh, there you go. Look at that. So you can see there's a map and there's the red. That's why it didn't work. Someone had ridden it into a red area.
Red
It's
zone.
all gone green.
Red foil.
So, did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, it's because last time you loaded it,
Yeah.
it was all red.
Yes.
And so when you've just refreshed it, it's all green now.
Oh, fuck yeah. This is going to work.
Okay.
All right, I'll see you boys in a
All
second
right,
on
so-
a Lime
So
scooter.
So Tommy is just heading off right now. 97. Give us a bit of an update on things with you. How are you?
I'm loving this. It's so much fun. LA's amazing.
Mm-hmm. Any other highlights?
I mean, I'm really keen at the moment to I guess like have a bunch of experiences.
Uh-huh.
Like you're overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, before I left, Mum was just like, "Oh, this is a perfect place. Go
Experiment.
Experiment. Yeah, literally.
Really?
Yeah.
And so she obviously trusts Tommy and I enough that we're not going to.
Yeah.
Here we go. So it's beeping. We're hearing a beeping sound. So I'm guessing that's not good that it's beeping. Why is it
stopped?
Why is it
It
beeping?
stopped.
Why was it beeping?
It didn't work, but I lifted it, and so that's an alarm system saying that it's not working, that it's
Being taken.
being moved, and it doesn't want to be moved anymore. I'll just put
No
it there.
Baby's not happy.
riding on sidewalks. I mean, that's fucking hard.
Can we please get a photo, Josh, of you and I just at
Mhm.
least doing
Why wasn't it
the
working?
Titanic together
Yeah,
on this
absolutely.
thing?
Why wasn't it working?
I wonder if it's something to do with my
Australian
Australian
credit card or something.
Australian iTunes.
Okay.
Downloading it says, "We're currently unavailable, but we're working to bring you Lime scooters. Hang on, let me just get out of this. I'm going to try it one more time here on the show.
So they've got a few rules.
Oh, do you want me to read them to you?
It's very hard to read. 'Cause someone's-
P, so it says park properly.
Yeah.
It says do not ride on sidewalk or
Uh-huh.
block traffic.
Mhm.
18 years or older
Uh-huh.
to ride the scooter. It says you need to wear a
Helmet
helmet.
is required. I haven't seen
So
anyone.
many.
I haven't seen anyone wear a helmet.
The hard thing about that is in America you don't have to wear a helmet. It's not law on bikes.
But so they're saying helmets required based on their terms and conditions, not based on law.
Maybe government have
Uh-huh.
enforced it. Like if you're going to use it here, let me
Yeah,
try.
okay.
One more time. Hang
All right. So he's.
on. I've got the app. Here we go.
So what do you have to do? Is scan a
Just
barcode?
scan, it's
or
like a QR
code.
Unlocking. Nah. Unlocking. We're currently unavailable. That's
Okay.
very sad.
You're never going to be able to do this.
If anyone who's watching on the Instagram live has been here
Mhm.
in the States and worked out how to use this, because that's the second time, so it wasn't, maybe the geofencing thing wasn't real.
Uh-huh.
It's just my fucking...
It could have been that. 97.
card.
Do you want to quickly read an email before we finish up?
Yeah, sure. We got an email from Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, Gronks, happy 500 episodes.
Thank you, Shannon. Sorry.
That's all good. What an epic achievement. It just automatically
I thought he
scrolled.
was giving you sass.
just stopping.
Don't interrupt me.
I just wanted to drop you guys a quick email to congratulate you. What you have achieved in the last 2 years has been incredible, and you all should be very proud.
That's lovely.
Tommy, your commitment... Tommy, your commitment to whatever you set your mind to is truly inspiring and something that I've taken and implemented into my everyday life.
That's lovely.
Sorry, just keep scrolling. Your dedication to your family, to Amy and Bodhi, is another thing that I highly respect in you. It's really lovely to hear you talk about them on the show and how much you value quality time with your little family.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you, Shannon.
Mr. 97. When Tommy said the other day that Amy had commented on how much she was loving hearing more of you throughout the show, I felt silly, but I was literally nodding along, saying, yes, me too.
Proud of my son.
It has been fantastic to listen to you from the start of your time at the Daily Talk Show and to where you are now. You have such talent in this field, and you should be so proud of how well you've integrated into the team. You're an incredibly well-spoken young adult who has focus and drive, not to mention the commitment you have made for the Daily Talk Show is what business owners' dreams are made of. You treat the show as if it's your baby.
Oh, you got a lot more than me.
And that's all Tommy and Josh could ask for, I'm sure.
Not a competition.
Josh, getting to know you and your personality through the show over the last year has been so good for
Personality
me.
Or personalities? Which
You've brought out a more inquisitive and critical thinking side to me I never knew I had, and your honesty when it comes to your life and how you live it is truly refreshing. Your ability to be vulnerable and talk openly about personal struggles you have is something I think that sets you apart from others in the industry, and you should be really proud of that.
That's lovely.
Your vision and the way you talk about the future of the Daily Talk Show is inspiring, and the confidence you have in yourself and your team even more so. Thank you guys for putting out such a great show every day. I know I speak for many listeners when I say I genuinely look forward to it popping up in my podcast feed each day. Congrats again on episode 500 and enjoy LA. P.S. Just left a 5-star Apple review because I'm a massive Gronk and hadn't done it yet.
Oh, Shannon, thank you so much. My lips, by the way, are absolutely burning.
Yeah,
Are they? Mine are good. Mine are getting better from the stuff.
Yeah, we're in trouble.
We all look like we got lipstick on because they've gone bright red.
Yeah. No, thank you for the email, Shannon. Also, Michelle pointed out she was listening in the early days. We actually had her on, I think, episode 50 or 40 or something like that. She was pointing out, do you remember she was into all the BDSM stuff? And she had a very good point. I think at the Halloween event, doing shtick, we were reacting over the top to the people in the chains.
I don't think so.
Well, the thing is, I didn't actually care. I feel like you're like, oh God, oh what? Whereas I feel like I react to that, being like, yeah, but I actually don't like it. I don't find it being that much of a thing.
I disagree. There was a woman chained to a guy, and he was holding it, and the chain was to her throat. Like if
but I mean, it's a.
No, I get it. I get what you're saying, but I think that I haven't fucking seen that ever in my life. Have you?
No, not within these contexts. I'm sure, like within subcultures and stuff, like you've seen references or imagery of that type of thing. Of course I have,
but what's normal to someone isn't normal to everyone. And so,
I guess that part of it is it's fine for us to react that way if it came across as negative or judgmental. I don't think that is our intention with these things.
Definitely not. Like, you can do what you want, but you can also feel like I want no part of that, and I don't want any part of that as a person.
Yeah, I guess that.
But then there's someone also might not want any part of what I do in my life.
But I guess there is that element of deciding, through the way that we speak, the way that I think anyway. It's like there's heaps of ways of living life. Everyone's got unique experiences. There's lots of things. Just because I wouldn't go to a prostitute, does that mean that I'm judgmental to sex workers and things like that? No, everyone has their unique perspectives and insights that I might not necessarily be able to understand. But I think potentially in moments where we're quickly reacting, that can get lost and it can just come across as judgmental.
I'll say this: drop the chain from around her throat. I wouldn't have made as big a reaction.
Yeah, well, I think that that's you applying some sort of judgment to it, which is fine.
Of course, which is chaining a woman's throat, walking down the street. I think I still have the same. I think I would flat out have that same response. The leathers and stuff, it's like, I've seen that before. I've been around people wearing that stuff, and I don't think that's what... It was just the chain and then the photo of her.
So
it was like this.
Is there a different...
chain, like holding her up like that.
So is your uncomfortability around it that... So there's consent. So two willing adults consenting to an experience...
you can think something's weird as fuck.
Yeah, I think that's a thing. Yeah, I think it's...
I think it's weird as fuck. I think it's unusual, but it doesn't mean... I think they're horrible humans.
Yeah. Well, but I think that... What do you think, 97?
Yeah, I mean, it's not something you see every day, right?
Yeah.
And it is unusual and interesting and a little bit uncomfortable to see, but it's like if they want to do that, then by all means. And like, yeah, I mean, mate, I can see the way that we reacted to it, how that could portray the idea that oh that's like we're not having any of that. That's weird. That's wrong or whatever.
Well, I guess we just don't understand,
exactly.
And potentially in the way that you're framing it there's probably connotations of like domestic violence or things like that around like a woman with that type of thing, which I think is connecting an issue with a subculture which might be misplaced potentially, which is what I'm saying is I don't understand, I don't know, which is why I probably lean on not having an extreme response or opinion on a thing. If that makes sense. But anyway, I got the email, and we really respect Michelle. She's someone who's listened for such a long time, and she opened us up to everything from the growing up trans and being on the in the 90s, being on the forum and helping people with suicide prevention. That's and doing all that sort of thing. And I think she has a unique insights that we don't have, and so I just wanted to make sure that we reflected it because. That wasn't my intention anyway. And also, I'm like, actually, I don't value the idea of being closed off. So, yeah, just thought I'd bring it up. Anyway, it's a daily talk show. We love your emails. As you can see, we read out a couple just then. hi@thedailytalkshow.com is the email. I'm actually losing my voice, which is horrendous.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you just feel it.
Yeah, I feel maybe just a bit dry.
Oh,
do we have any LaCroix left?
There's one left.
Okay, I'll have that.
You have that because last time that was me losing my...
Do you want to see if there's any any comments on the live stream?
That was me in America that lost my voice. That was so bad.
He's just probably lost them all.
I've probably lost it all.
Okay.
Or it's gone. Hang on, maybe.
No,
it brings up none.
Damn it. You might have lost them all.
Oh, that's okay. All right,
or it's gone. We can't see us.
That's okay.
Hopefully it's still there. Anyway.
All right, it's a daily talk show. See you tomorrow, guys. And we're going to be in LA for the next, 20 episodes. So stick around. Catch ya.
See you soon, guys.